Justice means restoration.
Drug trafficking, terror financing, corruption.
The PMLA was always a powerful law.
Protect the honest, pursue the guilty, restore what was stolen.
No economic offender could simply leave India.
Every property, every holding, removing every incentive to run.
Different crimes, different agencies, one shared mission.
Because delay cannot become comfort.
India's economic frontier is no longer unguarded.
Every rupee earned, every transaction made, every border crossed. India's economy moves at a staggering scale. And where there is scale, there will always be those who seek to exploit it. For 70 years, one institution has stood watch. Quietly, diligently, relentlessly. ED, the Enforcement Directorate.
It was May 1st, 1956. India, just 9 years into independence, was building its economy from the ground up. Foreign exchange wasn't just money, it was survival, and protecting it was critical. So, the government of India took a decisive step. The Enforcement Unit was created under the Department of Economic Affairs, a small team headquartered in Delhi with branches in Bombay and Calcutta. Its mandate: enforce the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1947. Then, in 1957, it became the Enforcement Directorate, a new name, a broader purpose. By 1960, it moved under the Department of Revenue, its institutional home to this day. What began as a modest setup has grown into a pan-India organization. 5 regional headquarters, 27 zones, 18 subzones, from the deserts of Rajasthan to the rivers of Northeast. India's economic frontier is no longer unguarded.
As India progressed, so did crime. It evolved. Hawala networks, shell companies, cross-border money flows, layered, complex, harder to trace, and the old systems couldn't keep up. So India adapted. In 1999, FERA gave way to the Foreign Exchange Management Act. From control to facilitation, but vigilance remained. The Enforcement Directorate stayed the watchdog. Then, in 2002, on the recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force, India enacted the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. And on 1st July 2005, its enforcement was entrusted to the Directorate of Enforcement, a defining moment, a turning point. But the evolution continued. In 2018, the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act came into force. A clear message: you can run, but you cannot hide. Because now, no economic offender could simply leave India and believe they were beyond the reach of its law.
Every serious crime leaves something behind: money. Drug trafficking, terror financing, corruption, human trafficking, cyber fraud, bank fraud, environmental crime, counterfeiting. The crime changes, the network changes, the method evolves. But the money always moves. And that is the trail the Enforcement Directorate follows. Because proceeds of crime may be hidden, layered, disguised, but never truly invisible. Under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, more than 200 offences are classified as predicate crimes, each investigated by different agencies: narcotics, the NCB, terror financing, the NIA, corruption, the CBI and the state police, cyber fraud, bank fraud, GST evasion, Ponzi schemes, illegal mining, human trafficking, each handled within defined mandates. Different crimes, different agencies, one shared mission: coordination, collaboration. And within this system, the Enforcement Directorate focuses on the money trail, tracing it, attaching it, confiscating it, working alongside other agencies, not above them, following every illicit rupee across crimes, Because when the system works together and criminals lose their proceed, they don't just lose money, they lose power.
The PMLA was always a powerful law, but in its early year, it remained largely a promise on paper. There was intent, there was structure, but impact was limited. By March 2014, nearly a decade after it came into force, total assets attached stood at just 5,171 crores. Just about 200 cases were registered annually, and the first prosecution complaint came only in 2012. A slow beginning, then the turning point. Between 2014 and 2024, 5,113 new PMLA investigations were initiated. At an average of 500 cases every year, the pace accelerated, the intent sharpened. Searches rose 86 times, assets increased 50 times, asset attachment increased 31 times, prosecution complaints 15 times higher. But these numbers reflect more than scale. They reflect a shift from hesitation to action, from limited enforcement to purposeful deterrence.
If the decade after 2014 was the Great Awakening, the last 2 years have been extraordinary. FY 24-25 set the benchmark. 461 provisional attachment orders, 30,036 crore rupees in assets attached, a 44% rise in orders, and a 141% surge in value. 333 prosecution complaints filed before special courts. It felt like a peak, but it wasn't. In FY 25-26, the numbers went up further.
1,080 new PMLA investigations, 39% higher than the previous year. 712 provisional attachment orders, a 54% jump. And then 81,422 crore in assets attached in a single year. A 171% increase, more than double of what was attached since PMLA's inception till 2019. In just 1 year, financial year 2025-26, assets attached were more than half of the previous 2 decades combined. The cumulative total as of March 31st, 2026, 2,36,017 crore. Over 2,36,000 crore rupees, a vast pool of criminal proceeds, frozen and awaiting justice. And cases moved forward to FY 25-26. 657 prosecution complaints were filed, nearly double the 333 of the previous year. Over 6 times the figures recorded in earlier years.
The system is accelerating, but scale is only one part of the story, because what defines this phase is not just what was seized, but what was returned. A clear shift in approach. Attachment alone is not justice. Justice means restoration. In FY 24-25, rupees 15,262 crores was restituted. In FY 25-26, it increased to rupees 32,678 crores. Across recent years, rupees 63,143 crores returned, approximately $6.82 billion to banks, depositors, and the public exchequer. And behind these numbers, the real impact. Homebuyers got their homes, investors saw justice, and banks recovered their dues. Because this is what the Directorate stands for, not just the pursuit of the guilty, but the restoration of the wronged.
Investigation and attachment are just the beginning. The real test happens in court, where every claim must stand, every fact must hold, and every charge must be proven beyond doubt. That journey is long and never easy. PMLA cases number in the thousands. Over 2,300 prosecution complaints have been filed since the Act came into force, and convictions, 56 cases involving 124 individuals, each one built on meticulous proof. This gap between cases investigated and concluded is not failure. It reflects the complexity of financial crime and the rigor of India's justice system. Because these cases are layered, document-heavy, often global, and the challenges are real. Bail and discharge petitions before charges are framed, accused beyond the country, beyond summons, constitutional matters, pausing proceedings, massive digital evidence, over 1,000 terabytes in some cases. Even sharing documents can take over a year, and in several states, not enough special courts for the growing caseload. But these challenges are known and they are being addressed with the judiciary, with the government, with oversight bodies, targets set, timelines defined, cases prioritized, timelines reduced, and the result, a conviction rate of over 94% in cases that have reached a verdict, among the highest in the world. Proof that when cases go to court, prepared, complete, precise, they prevail. Now the focus is clear. More cases reaching a conclusion faster, because delay cannot become comfort, and every conviction is a battle hard won, one the Directorate of Enforcement intends to keep fighting.
For some, it once seemed simple. Leave the country, disappear. As if distance could erase the accountability. But that belief didn't last. In 2018, everything changed. The Fugitive Economic Offenders Act came into force, giving the Enforcement Directorate the power to act completely. Not just the proceeds of crime, but the entirety of an absconder's assets. Every property, every holding. Removing every incentive to run. The message was clear. You can leave the country, not the law. So far, 23 individuals have been declared fugitive economic offenders. Extradition battles and deportations across jurisdictions, from the US to Spain, from Canada to Australia. Because today, the Directorate's reach goes beyond borders, across systems, across continents. And India's global role reflects this. Presidency of RNEP, the Asset Recovery Interagency Network for the Asia Pacific. A seat on the Global Network Steering Committee, a global coalition against corruption. And in FATF's 2024 mutual evaluation, India rated substantially effective for international cooperation, a global acknowledgement of efforts to protect the integrity of the financial system.
Financial crime never stands still. It evolves, adapts, finds new paths. Today, cryptocurrency, digital wallets, dark web, and global payment platforms. Invisible, fast, borderless. But as crime evolves, so does the response. The Directorate of Enforcement moves with it, adapting, upgrading, staying ahead. AI-powered analytics, blockchain, forensics, real-time offender tracking. Tools for a new battlefield, and the results show it. A PSU bank official who siphoned off rupees 16 crore tracked through that grid and intercepted on a moving train. Crypto assets worth rupees 2,385 crore traced and attached even beyond India's borders. Because enforcement today is not limited by geography, it is powered by technology. The Directorate does not just respond to the future, it anticipates it.
"70 years ago, a small unit was created to protect India's foreign exchange. Few could have imagined what it would become. Today, The Directorate of Enforcement stands as India's premier financial investigating agency, trusted by courts, respected globally, and feared by those who exploit India's economy. But at its core, the mission remains unchanged: protect the honest, pursue the guilty, restore what was stolen. For 70 years, India has had a guardian, and the watch goes on.